Welcome to this edition of Video Explosion. I'm your host, DJ Finesse. We got a special guest with us on this episode, Benedict, poet, writer, and storyteller. He's with us today. What's up, man?
Nice to see you, DJ. How are you?
Always. Good to see you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me here.
Always. Stay tuned, y'all. We're about to do this. Welcome to this edition of Video Explosion. I'm your host, DJ Finesse. We have a very special guest with us today, Benedict, poet, writer, and storyteller. Welcome to the show, Benedict.
Thank you so much, DJ. Nice to meet you. You said special guest. I don't know how special I really am, but I appreciate that.
Oh, definitely special, Benedict. And just want to touch on, we have a history that we've known each other, 35 years?
Yeah, a few years. We go way back. We went to high school together. We were in television production classes together. Oh, yeah.
Yes, television, and you went on to do some journalism and media as well.
I did. I have a communications background. I worked in broadcast television news for many years. At the national level and the local New York, New Jersey, affiliate, and Philadelphia areas, and that was my communications, broadcast TV communications work that I did, and then I went on to become a public information officer for the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey for several years after 9/11, and eventually ended up at the New Jersey State Parole Board as communications director. But I'm in an entirely different field right now. So life takes you along the way.
Yes, definitely. And speaking of life and journeys, now you're a poet, storyteller, writer. Tell us about it. How did this come to be? And what inspired you to jump in?
Sure. Wow. I've always written. I mean, people said that I came out of the womb with a pen and a piece of paper. Whether it's writing different creative short stories or trying my hand at poetry. I've done all kinds I've written scripts for various projects. And I guess I really honed the poetry writing in about 2012 or so, 2011. I started writing a lot more. I was in a different place in my life where it was a real refuge for me to write. Okay. And, I'm considered a poet. You introduced me as a poet, writer, and a storyteller. I really kind of consider myself more an observer with a pencil. I write about what I see and what I experience.
Life's experiences, the journey along the way. Shed some light on our viewers.
Sure. Well, I wrote my first book. I published my first book in 2012 after my mother passed away. I really got involved with poetry as a kid. My mother used to read poetry to me. She used to write some poetry. And those are such tender moments that I'll never forget. And in 2012, she passed away. And my siblings asked me, gave me the honor to give the eulogy for my mother at the funeral. Here it is at 3:00 in the morning before my mother's funeral. And I'm thinking to myself, what am I going to say? There's so much wonderful things I could say about my mother. How do I do this? So I wrote a poem. And I believe to this day that was her inspiration that made me do that. And I felt at the time that she was speaking to me in some way, some presence, and she said, keep writing. Write your stuff and publish it. So I published the first book, which was god-awful. I mean, it had poetry from 25, 30 years ago. Horrendous poetry. Mm-hmm. But I published it anyway. And at that point, the first book was called Readings from Elysium, Poetry from the Streets to the Garden. Okay, it's an interesting title. But I wrote that book with the mindset that I knew everything. Okay, I knew everything there was to know. I experienced everything. Life's trials, life successes, and love, loss, all of that. And it turns out years later, when I came up with my second book, which is right here, Return from Elysium, Racing Sisyphus Up the Mountain,
Mhm.
the premise of that book was, whoa, wait a minute. I don't know it all. I have not experienced it all. And the journey really is the destination. So that's what really inspired me to write that second book.
Excellent. And thank you for sharing. Were there any artists of any genre that inspired you as well? Or, when you were younger and had the idea to start writing?
Sure, sure. I always loved the classic artists, Dante Alighieri, William Shakespeare. But then I also became more interested in some of the more modern poets, or not modern anymore, but Robert Frost, for example. And I would say music has had a big impact as well on some of the work that I've done. David Bowie's been an influence, but probably the biggest influence in my life in terms of my writing is Van Morrison,
Mhm.
the singer-songwriter Van Morrison, because he's just otherworldly, in my opinion. His emotive lyrics and delivery really tell a story about the journey as well. And, life from a realistic standpoint, but
Mhm.
beyond what we all consider to be each and every day of our existence.
Yes. And now also tell us about the cover art of the book.
Sure, sure. Well, this book, A Return from Elysium, Racing Sisyphus Up the Mountain, I had the distinct pleasure, the honor of having my brother Lewis, who is an artist. He's been an artist for many, many years. Fantastic, best artist I've ever seen. Um, he painted the cover. He painted this cover for me. And the story of Sisyphus, the second part of the title, Sisyphus comes from the mythological story of the man who was cursed by Zeus and destined to roll a boulder up the mountain for eternity, only to have the thing fall down, roll back down once he gets it to the top, and have to do it all over again. And it's an allegory. I mean, it's basically about life itself, and I've experienced that as well. I think we all experience that.
Absolutely.
And so the title and the book cover is actually me racing Sisyphus up the mountain. And if you notice, I'm in the lead.
Well, that says it all, Benedict. Through life's journeys, obstacles, opposition, trouble, being on the daily grind, trying to get things accomplished. Sometimes you feel like everything is coming up against you. And so the cover art, just tells the story by you pushing that boulder, but and struggling seemingly to get it up, right?
Right, right. And, there's a theory, and, that Sisyphus actually enjoys doing that, that's his mission. That's what he has to do. So a lot of my work, I really hope, and the premise of my work is it's realistic stories. It's each person's everyday struggle, their successes as well, love, loss, everything in between. So I write in a way that I feel, or I hope, that anybody can relate to some of those stories. That's what I try to do.
Well, that is helpful and beneficial to people, so we can, keep faith, keep a positive attitude, no matter what's happening day to day. So just we keep striving and keep pushing forward.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I would say that I've also been impacted from a lot of Stoicism, Stoic philosophy, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca. And one of the biggest stories, or the biggest lessons from Stoicism, is that in life there are things we control, and there are things out of our control. Focus on what you can control. Don't worry about the rest. And I think that's really something that a lot of us should keep in mind.
I agree, and also I'd like to add to that, everything's temporary, no matter what we're going through, good or bad. And maybe it's how we go through these moments,
Mhm.
but they're not here to stay. We're traveling through,
Yes.
and whether we like the outcome or not, it's still temporary.
Well said. I totally agree with that. There really is a strong ephemeral, you know, mission for us. Life is ephemeral, the good and the bad. The great things that happen. You think you got this, right? I got this. I'm successful now. I got it. I got it. No, you don't. Only to fall back down. And the bad stuff as well does not last. Just keep pushing that boulder up the mountain. You'll get there.
Yes, and also staying in balance, I think.
Hmm.
Um, and sometimes this is easier said than done, but try not to get too high about anything or get too low, and try to keep a medium and still have some joy and faith that
Yeah.
things will improve. But again, it's temporary. So
I've always looked at it that there really is a distinction between goals, setting goals, and also expectations and what ends up happening, the inevitable. So it's great to set goals for yourself. You need to set goals in life, but again, there's things you can't control. And if you recognize that, and you recognize, don't get too high because you can come down at any moment. I think that will be a very helpful philosophy for anybody in life.
yes, absolutely. And also, our viewers, I'm sure they'd like to hear some of your poetry readings.
I hope.
No, I'm sure they do. Please share with us. I know you have two of your readings you'd like to share, and we're excited to hear it.
Yeah, I have a
Let
whole
us
book of
enjoy
my
it, man.
readings, but I'm going to just read a couple here.
Okay, thank you.
This first one is a very recent. It's called Clock's Shadow. 1 minute ticking, swirling into an hour, lasting for an eternity as boredom begins infiltrating my nervous energy, anxiety, and body, like an organ transplant that's intolerable. Clock watching, fingers tapping, legs shaking. I've finished my fifth cup of coffee. That's warming, raising my blood pressure, yet not forwarding the little or big hand on that clock. Watching light through the windows changing, colors and shades morphing, from bright gold to pastel blue, the hue matching my outlook within the stale, unsettled, present moment. The clock shadow is dragging time behind, moving it backwards as I sit, fidgeting in my uncomfortable chair. Maybe a splinter has ruined my mood.
Yes, yes. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
That basically is about how, time is ephemeral in a lot of ways too. And to me, that's the most valuable commodity in life, time, more valuable than money.
Yes.
And this story is about somebody who's just in the midst of battling time, struggling with time, recognizing that, there are moments when we struggle with getting things done, whether it be procrastination or what have you.
Yes, A Benedict. And I just want to add to that. Sometimes we want time to slow down, and sometimes we want it to go quicker, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because you can't fight time. It's again out of your control, control what you do with that time. There's a philosophy I recently read about called alive time and dead time. And basically, the alive time is what you do, learn, spend time learning, pick up some philosophy, do some volunteer work,
Mhm.
do something positive, enrich yourself with good people in your life as well.
100%. Not only that, you mentioned volunteering, being involved in the community,
Hmm.
helping other people. That can also take some of your own problems off of your mind, I think.
That's huge. That's huge. We all are community when you think about it. And we have to be there for each other because, we all share that idea of struggle. So there has to be more than an empathy. There has to be sympathy there too.
There does. And you just can't live for yourself alone, right?
No, no, you can't. You can't. That's, as human beings, we're social animals. We have to interact with each other. So avoid politics, avoid watching and listening to the news. That's a big thing to do too.
Yes.
I think you
Yes.
can learn more from history than you really can from current events. I'm only kidding when I say don't watch the news, but you know, look at what history has taught us. A lot of leaders and a lot of people have not learned from that, but that's another story.
Yes. Yes. And oh, you have another poem
I
you like to
do.
share? You
I
got
do.
it.
This one is in the latest book, A Return from Elysium. And this is the one that really encapsulates the whole idea of you think you got everything and you think you've reached that pinnacle. You've reached that top of the mountain. You are successful, only to recognize that humility is a lot stronger
Hmm.
than anything else that you put on your plate. So this one's called What I Thought I Knew. I must have amnesia because I knew it all when I was younger. I had more wisdom than all the books in King Solomon's library, and I was braver than Daniel in that lion's den. If I could only know now what I forgot I knew then. I chased a million sunsets, and they all burned me in the end. It didn't matter. I had much to pretend. Dreams of piles of cash, and cash became king. Visions of azure blue and around an Amalfi coast, dappled by coral canary and tangerine houses to boast. I knew it all, but forgot along the path of virtuous intention as I went wandering, searching amid Roman ruins for redemption. Destined to pay what I owed for those moments of gluttony, flashes of debauchery, times way too often of treating others so horribly. I'll gladly pay the bill, a sentence for all that I've done, for chasing my dreams, for chasing that sun. I still serve my penalty, rolling that boulder up the mountain for eternity. But I pass Sisyphus every damn time. The new friends I met along that mountain trail are the ones whom I first fought tooth and nail. They showed me life meant so much more than I initially thought. I was wrong when I spat upon their supplication and had no choice but to suffer immense indignation. My feet were worn to the bone as I ran from that crowd. Now I walk humbly alongside, barefoot and proud. You see, I learned more from knowing nothing at all, because life has a way of making you small, hitting you hard, giving you amnesia. Am I bitter it happened? Not one bit at all. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Yes. Have to stay humble right through it all.
Be humble. Be humble. Humility is a very strong drug, humility.
And one of the best teachers too.
Absolutely.
Humility, right?
Absolutely. That's why one of the last lines in that poem is, am I bitter it happens? Not one bit at all. I'm very grateful for having stumbled across humility in my life. It really keeps you grounded.
It keeps us grounded and we need that to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, again, my thought on the matter is that the journey is indeed more important than the destination, because when you get to the destination, then what?
Mm-hmm.
You get complacent. You think your ego swells. Your head kind of goes balloons a little bit. You have to keep that in check, and you have to keep learning. I think that's how you get the mind really strengthened and in a good position.
Yes, you don't want to stay stagnant for long. You get to a certain level, but then there's more after that
Absolutely.
to go up against and conquer. So
Right. And, you say conquer, and I think, you're right. A lot of people set these goals to conquer, that you conquer their own demons, conquer their professional career, conquer education. But I really think it's more a matter of learning and growing, that kind of a process in
yes,
anything you do.
yes, yes. Thanks for breaking that down.
Yeah,
Yes, a
sure.
Benedict. Yes,
No problem.
and you also have some performances on your schedule coming up in the near future.
I do. I do. I typically perform each month at the Arts Council of Princeton, which is over at 101 Witherspoon Street in Princeton. They also have an open mic night the third Thursday of each month. And I love going to that, not to perform. I love hearing the wonderful work from a lot of other fellow poets, storytellers, and writers. It is just a wealth of talent. And I'm going to also be performing at the Arts Council of Princeton, probably do about a 20-minute show on May the 23rd. It's a Saturday evening.
Mhm.
It's called Cafe Improv. They have about 6 or 7 acts. Most of the acts are musical, but I'll be the lone poet performing my work. So it's free, or I think it costs $1 or something. But if you show up, I'll pay you $1 for you. But definitely that's something to check out. And I really feel that, whether it's writing, whether it's poetry, storytelling, art, painting, I think we all have an inherent talent in us. You are very talented. You're very talented in a lot of ways, and it's part of who you are. And I think the challenge is explore what your talent is, explore your passion, because if you don't live with passion, you're just, watching the clock go by.
Yes, and we are looking forward to your next performance. So I plan to be there, Tony, to check
You
it out
better
and
be.
support.
Great. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. It's you know, a lot of times poetry is takes a back seat to writing, and people think it's archaic poetry and it has to be done a certain way. And it does follow guidelines, poetry, but a lot of people shy away from it, thinking it's either above them or it's a little on the snooty side. I like to bring it to a level where it's almost considered street poetry. I don't follow all the rules. I don't care. I'm going to tell my story, and that's what I'm going to do.
I checked out some of your videos on YouTube,
Hmm.
and two that stuck in my mind a little bit. One was 1980s.
Who was born in the 70s? Okay. So that means you kind of grew up in the 80s. So this one I did. This one's called 1980s. Trapped again in the 80s. A veritable Rubik's Cube, locked in place. Nowhere to go, no way to escape. Not even through a whirling tunnel at Chuck E. Cheese. The Cure, Def Leppard, and Morrissey, filling radio airways, swirling sounds throughout summery nights, filled with laughter, love, and teen spirit. He is breathless, staring at her soft ivory breasts, beginning to rub up against her virgin chest. Blackberry brandy on her tasty breath, sharing the bottle, an elixir, leading to erotic dreaming. Running through the woods from police under a full moon, glowing, acting as a searchlight, revealing shortcut paths back to the bedroom window, back home, back to adolescent sanctuary. Ancient video gaming, nothing like today. Electronic cubes and blocks melting onto old TV screens, teenage exhaustion and overnight pre-dawn hours, slumbering until noon, dreaming of the 1990s and what's yet to come.
And your references and your writing. I think you mentioned Rubik's Cube,
Yeah.
Def Leppard. Definitely 1980s. I really enjoyed those writings.
Chuck E. Cheese,
Chuck E. Cheese.
video games that were really
Yeah.
nothing compared to today.
Yes.
Well, we grew up in the 1980s.
Exactly. So it resonates with us, obviously.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I performed that piece, and there were a lot of young people there, and I'm always heartened to see young writers and young poets who actually come to me, ask questions and advice. And they were half the audience were young people there when I performed that poem, and the other half were at least my age, if not older. And you could hear the chuckles and the oohs and the ahs when I made a reference like Rubik's Cube.
Mhm.
I made a reference like The Cure, and the younger people were, huh?
Mhm.
What's that?
Mhm.
And it's a time thing.
Do you have any advice to young writers and poets
Mhm.
that you could share with them?
I do. I have a lot of young people that do come up to me and they ask me advice, and I'm certainly not a real professional writer. I don't. Again, I'm a observer with a pencil.
Mhm.
But the best advice that I like to give to people is, tell your story, write down your story, tell your story, believe in it, And if people don't care, that's their problem.
Right.
And that's not an original concept of mine, but I think that really encapsulates what you should do and how you put your passion and beliefs in writing.
That's right on and good
Hmm.
advice, to be accepted and recognized. And hey, Benedict, this portion of the interview gives our viewers opportunity to get to know you better. So I'm just going to sound off 5 questions.
Oh
And
boy. And I don't know what these questions are. You wouldn't share them with me beforehand.
no, no, not at all. Hey, Benedict.
Let's get to it.
Okay. Okay. First one. Favorite foods, hey, Benedict.
Well, as you can tell, there's plenty. Um, I love ribeye steak. Okay. I love a lot of Italian food. I grew up on Italian food. Broccoli rabe, or as we pronounce it, broccoli rabe.
Mhm.
All kinds of meats. I'm a big fan of.
Terrific. And how about favorite vacation spots?
Favorite vacation spots? I would say I can't narrow it down, but the Caribbean islands I love. There's something about the Caribbean that I really, really feel a connection with, whether it be St. Thomas, St. Martin,
Hmm.
Barbados.
Nice.
I feel so at ease down there. But another spot that's special to me is actually way up north, and that's Quebec City in Canada, in the province of Quebec. Been there many times. I've been there on my own. I've gone away to write and just walk the streets of such an old ancient city.
It's very beautiful from what I've seen and heard.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
oh, awesome. And okay. Favorite sports teams, football, basketball, hockey.
Well, I had no choice. I had to root for the teams my father rooted for, which are all the Philadelphia teams. Philadelphia Eagles, who were the world champions. Philadelphia Phillies, big
Baseball, of
baseball
course.
fan. 76ers,
Oh,
and I
yes.
believe we went to a game at one point many years ago.
Oh, yes.
And I'm a big hockey fan as well. I actually used to play ice hockey many years ago, and the Philadelphia Flyers are one of my favorite teams. But I will have to say that, compared to those 4 teams, I'm a tremendous European football
Mhm.
fan. I think you all call it soccer.
Yes.
So my passion is Manchester United.
Yes. Did you get to see them play when they were in New Jersey a
I
few
have
years
several
ago,
several
right?
times. Yeah, several times I've seen the squad come here. One of my bucket list items is to go to Old Trafford in Manchester and watch them play there.
Oh, terrific. Soccer's another terrific sport. Didn't I never
Didn't we
want to,
play together when we were like little kids?
you know what? It might have
We had
been
a
the
mutual friend as well, and we like rec leagues and stuff. I think we played.
house league, rec leagues, probably.
Wow. Yeah.
I think Scott Lee, and
That's.
shout out to Scott Lee.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
might have played against each other, different teams. Oh,
Well,
good
our high
memory.
school was the state champion 2 years back to back when we were there, if you recall.
That's
And I think there
right.
was a ruckus, a brawl that broke out against our rival team in one match. And
Goodness.
we were working, I was doing color play by play on our
Right.
local access TV station.
Mhm.
And you were in the truck somewhere. You were producing it, directing that. And
Yeah.
I think you remember that, that fracas that broke out.
Oh, yes, yes. Absolutely. Great memory there, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And favorite books and authors, Benedict. Who do you like?
Sure. I like to read a lot of the classics, and I like to reread a lot of the classics. I will read new books out there. There's a lot of great authors out there, but I hearken back to some of the philosophical writers. One of my favorite books is Candide, which really is the story about trials and tribulations, and that goes back to like the 17th century. That book, but Dante Alighieri, the Inferno, reading about the Inferno, which is very lyrical in a lot of ways, and there again a lot of the philosophy I like to read, philosophical books.
Very cool. Nice. And lastly, favorite music. What genres of music do you enjoy to listen to over the years?
I I love all kinds of music. I really do. I love classical music from that period, classic rock, uh, R&B, and jazz. And if hip hop was really big when we were in high school together.
Oh, of
So, I love
course.
to go back
Yes.
and listen to that music as well. So I really, and I love the old standard classics, the Frank Sinatra, Ella
Hmm.
Fitzgerald, and Billie Holiday. I love Billie Holiday. Sam Cooke it
Terrific.
was a great musician too in his own right.
Absolutely. Thank you. And hey, Benedict, any special hellos or shout outs you want to say to anyone viewing at this time?
Sure, sure. I want to say hello to my brother, Louis. He goes by Lou Chavo, who really has also been an inspiration to me. He's an artist, but he's a musician too. He just came out with an album. He's recorded several albums, different genres of music. So, Lou, I love you. You've been an inspiration to me. Keep up the great work. And I also have to recognize my wife, Deborah, who's been really supportive. I love her to death, of course. And she's been there. She's listened to some of my poetry. She's walked through my office and stepped over 75 crumbled up drafts of my work. And she's given me great
Hmm.
advice. So those are two people really important to me.
Oh, yes. Hey, Benedict, about contact information
Hmm.
for future bookings or to purchase your books, please share that as well.
Sure, sure. Well, a Return from Elysium is on Amazon. Just put in A Return from Elysium, and you could purchase the book there. As far as contacting me, my email is a.benedict1970 at gmail.com if you ever want to write me. And also, I strongly encourage you to go to my YouTube page where you'll see a lot of
Yes.
my previous
Yes.
performances, and that's at a Benedict YouTube, something like that. Just go to YouTube and you'll find it at a Benedict, and please subscribe. So those are ways to get in touch with me.
Terrific. Yes, check out A Benedict on that YouTube channel. He's got some awesome, terrific performances from all over. And I think you really find that a joy to listen to and to watch on YouTube. A Benedict's videos. Check it out. Hey, A Benedict, thank you for being on the show today. It's good to see you as always. It's been a long time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, my friend. Keep up the great work. This is a fantastic show. Love it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that very
Thank you.
much. Thank you. Hey, we're wrapping up here on Video Explosion. Thanks for viewing this episode. We appreciate y'all and we love you all. We'll see you next time on Video Explosion.
So this one is called acta non verba, which is Latin for action, not words. What can you show me? I don't mean tell me. I want visions of color that stream past slate gray skies. I desire to see truth and not merely hear about it. Wanting truth, no longer listening to your discord and distorted version of it. Action, not words. Actionable items about your overreaching tendencies creeping into my yard with lies overgrowing like the neighbor's tree hanging over the fence line. Fake words infiltrating fertile fields without Vestal Virgin's blessings. I don't want apologies for your tears or your hurtful transgressions. I don't want patronizing rhetoric from self-inflicted rapture and revelation. Your incessant telling without showing, hiding meaningful feelings, harmfully flowing. Truth's absence in your eyes, staring deep, deep, deep into my soul. Your falsetto ways burning, taking an unnecessary toll. Action! Not sorrowful excuses with hollow meaning. Empty expressions lacking truth, vapid verbiage without validity. Action! Please show me. Action. Please show me. My mind aching and my body tired, your lack to act simply exhausting. As you take narcissism to lofty heights, mastering the art of pointless pontificating. I am done listening to your words, lies, evasiveness, spitefulness, and viciousness, used like marble, carved, chiseled, and sculpted into nothing but meaningless rubbish. I am done. This artist is done painting over dark skies with light and color from my own palette of truthfulness. I am done enabling your ruthlessness. It is time for action and not words. Please show me. Don't placate me. Don't lie to me. Please show me.